Special performance, Kwab. Special, and not just from SGA. I think if you're a Thunder fan, this is the vision of the future that you see.
Very unfair. Very
This
unfair
is
roster.
It is actually the present, not just the future.
Yeah.
But this is the vision. The big three, man. I know SGA is going to get a lot of credit for today's game, and it deserves it 100%. He was phenomenal. But this big three, everyone knew about them. Everyone knows J-Dub. Everybody knows Chet. Of course, everybody knows the MVP, SGA. But I think this game is going to be a signature moment, their first signature moment as a big three. Let's get into the box score. The OKC Thunder beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 128-126. SGA with 40, 10, and 9. J-Dub 34 and 5. Chet Holmgren 21 points, 7 rebounds for the Timberwolves. Nickeil Alexander-Walker with 23.6 assists. Anthony Edwards with 16 and 6. And Jaden McDaniels had 22. Dante also had 21, not listed. A great game. A fantastic game to watch. Best game of the series by far.
Yeah, easily, hands down.
Oh, my God. Just a fantastic game. I thought it's weird because the score's 128, 126, but I thought there was a lot of good defense being played on both ends. The Minnesota Timberwolves turned the ball over 20 times, which I think, we can talk about SGA. We can talk about Jalen Williams. We can also talk about Anthony Edwards not being aggressive and looking for a shot, even though I thought he played a good game. I thought Anthony Edwards was good today, and it was a big reason why Alexander Walker had the game that he had and Dante had the game that he had. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of these times people look at the fourth quarter and when games were lost. I think this game was lost early on, especially in the first half, with the OKC Thunder turning the Wolves over and getting offensive rebounds throughout the whole game. Hartenstein kicked the crap out of Rudy Gobert on the glass, and to me that was the difference. Was the turnovers, the points off turnovers, and the second chance points and the offensive rebounding from the OKC Thunder to get extra possessions against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves, if it wasn't for them shooting 60+% in the first half, they would have got their doors blown off of them in the first half.
Yeah.
They shot so well, despite turning the ball over, that they were able to stay in the game. With Anthony Edwards having 2 points at half. Julius Randle was awful today. I'll say that right. Awful. He was. You can look at Anthony Edwards' stat line and you can say, you just by looking at it, you might think he played horribly. I don't think Ant was fantastic. He wasn't superstar status, but I don't think he had a bad game. Julius was terrible today. Yeah. He was horrific today. Turning the ball over, stopping the offense, bad decisions. The shots that he did take were just him floating around, catch and shoot, not really, just not good shots. I mean, he was just bad. Julius was bad today. And on the other end, I can't point out an OKC player who I thought played. Maybe Dort got into foul trouble. Aside from that, I mean, OKC came into Minnesota and they played just as well as you could possibly play and, pull out a victory at the end.
Yeah, it's a good response by OKC after they got their butts whooped. Last game, it was like a generational ass whooping they took last game. But before the game started, the broadcast had an inside look at the Timberwolves locker room, and Chris Finch said, talking to his team, talking to Timberwolves, yeah, we have to slow down Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. That was a point of emphasis they made.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
No, bad job, guys.
Bad job. Terrible job. And I think the game started with Jalen Williams was very aggressive, attacking but actually shooting. Felt like he had a lot more wide open shots this game than compared to last game.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised about. The Timberwolves were shading to Shai to start the game, and Shai was moving the ball, not hesitating, swinging the ball, and Jalen Williams was hitting shots. Chet, like you said, Chet was aggressive throughout the whole game, and the point you made at the start of this video was that as a big three, they came through tonight and showed why, they're here right now, why they've been the top team, one of the arguably the best team in the league all year. They've also been the best defense all year, and you saw that in a bunch of stretches this game. And it wasn't just like you said with Isaiah Hartenstein just kicking the crap out of Rudy on the board. It was also late in the game they had Alex Caruso guarding Rudy, so they could just switch in terms of guard when the Timberwolves would try to be a high pick and roll.
Right.
To the Timberwolves side, Julius Randle, bad game. Like we can
Awful.
like I don't want to heap more like but it was a terrible game by him. Turnovers, all that. Like Anthony Edwards had a solid game, but I was surprised he wasn't as aggressive in certain stretches, but he was moving the ball, like he was getting in the paint, finding shooters, and like the way Dante was shooting today, and Nickel was hitting shots today. Like you said, it was a big reason why they were still in the game, even with all the turnovers and some of the sloppy play they were having. They were shooting the crap out the ball. This is probably I think the best I've seen them shoot. Which I can't say that because they beat the Thunder by 60 like basically last game. But compared to the first two games, this is the best I've seen. Like some of the players, some of the role players, the bench players shoot. Like this is like the Dante they wanted.
Oh, it was by far Dante's best game. The Timberwolves shot 18 for 41, 43.9% from three.
And they created a lot of open corner threes, a lot of open corner threes, and it was a good recipe, but. The turnovers, you can't have that against a team like the Thunder. They feast off that, and just not get. I don't think I gotta look it up. But it felt like they didn't get as many second chance points as they got last game at all whatsoever.
They got some boards, yeah, but they didn't really capitalize the way the Thunder capitalized. This is actually I should probably look this up. I mean, here at the Dime, we don't really. We give stats, but we're not the type to be like analytically. This is exactly what happened.
Exactly, yeah,
yeah. But the offensive rebounds were even 19 and 19.
19. Okay,
but I noticed in the first half, particularly, a lot of what OKC was manufacturing on the offensive end was through turnovers, was through second chance points, and to me, that was the biggest difference in the first half for sure.
Yeah, definitely was, and like the shot making by Shai was amazing throughout the whole course of the game. Like he hit a bunch of tough shots. I know that the narrative that people want to harp on and give him crap about is like the foul baiting and all that.
There's a little bit of that.
What happened? What'd you say?
There was a little bit of that.
There's a little, but to me,
he was fantastic. I mean, let's be honest. Like he was fantastic today.
He was fantastic.
Today. Yeah.
But I was gonna say the one thing I've always liked about Shai is that. Even when he feels like he should have got a foul called, you never see him complain and like kind of mope and not get back on defense. Like he will get up, get right. And I feel like a lot of superstars don't have that attitude. Like when they kind of sulk and act it out. Like to me, he's never been the type where like, okay, didn't get the call, got to move on. Like next play mentality. And to me, this game was like the next play mentality that they have, because that could have been last game could have been like monumental, like game changer, like for a team to be like, damn, we got our back kicked in, but they came with the right attitude to start this game, closed it out really well. Like you saw everybody have like a hand in the game to end the game. Like Shai hitting big shots, Jalen Williams hitting big shots, Chet. In the paint, Caruso making the right plays. Like it's just there's such a complete unfair team. Like I sometimes I lose track of what to say because I feel like I end up saying the same things when they win. It's just they're just built perfectly as a team.
Yeah, and I mean I'm just gonna continue to harp on this point. I think this is their big three's first signature moment. I really do. I think when we look back at this team, you know, we think of a team like Durant, Harden, and Westbrook. Even though they never won a championship, we know them as a big three. We have moments in our heads thinking about them. For me, this is the first legitimate like, oh, they are here.
Like it's the game that like it kind of stamped them for you. Like you're like, yes. Yeah.
Because no one really talks about, you know, SGA, Jalen, and Chet as a big three. You don't really hear that in national media. Yeah. I don't, at least. I mean, you might hear about them individually. Like, you might hear people give props to J-Dub individually or Chet individually, but you never hear, like, the big three of Oklahoma City. You don't hear that. So for me, I think that's going to start coming around, especially after this game. You know, again, SGA's going to get most of the props here. He was phenomenal. He hit tough mid-range shot after tough mid-range shot. And actually, shout out to him, man. I mean, because he doesn't settle, man. He knows where his spots are, and he gets to them, and he hits his jump shots. It's actually fascinating to watch because he's not quicker than everybody. He's going at his own pace. He knows how to. There was a play where he directed his whole offense around, like you go here, so I can get to this elbow spot and I can hit a jumper in my cousin's face. Yeah, I mean, he's a smart basketball player. You know, you can say what you want about the whole fouling stuff, but I mean, he does that because he's smart and because anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And they just don't. He knows how to do it better than anybody. So, you know, it's part of the rules. It's something that I wish they would change a little, but until they change it, I mean, he's just playing the game.
I was gonna say there was a tweet that somebody said that SGA plays like the Pink Panther, and that's like I'm like, yeah, I like just the the way his movement, his movement is just smooth. He's just been smooth moving, just created like you said, like he gets to the spots, just and some of the shots he hit, I'm just like that's a tough, like in terms of that's a tough bucket, just a great game by him.
I mean, I thought he got a little too credulous, I guess the word is, or he got a little like he started taking some selfish shots in the third, fourth. But aside from that, I thought he played a really great game. I thought he had a fantastic first half.
You know what? Compared to the Denver series, where like there were times when we're just like, yo, you don't like you're playing too selfish. I feel like he's been so much better since those like that stretch of games where it felt like his late game play kind of swayed the game for the other team. But what do you think the Timberwolves go from here in terms of the next game?
I don't know where you go from here. I mean, you got to figure out how to get Julius going. You got to figure out. I mean, I like the fact that Neil Alexander-Walker had, you know, as many points as he had. Same with Dante. At the end of the day, I think that you do know that like Anthony Edwards can't score 16 points in a game every game, and you expect to come back from a 3-1 deficit. So Anthony has to be Superman. I think it's very important that Julius gets going somehow, some way. I mean, you can't just have him stationary with the defense loaded up and him trying to back his way into something. They're too good. I mean, he can't get by anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you do with that. Maybe put him in a pick and roll situation, have him going off like, you know, rolling to the hoop.
Are they posting them up too high? Like
yes.
it feel like I'm like, why is he at the?
He's posting him at the 3-point line sometimes. Like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, like at that part, I'm like, that's not gonna work against
Stop
these
passing
these
the ball
defenders.
to Rudy Gobert. Stop. And I don't even say that to be a dick. Like, I'm a Knicks fan. I yelled at TV every time they pass the ball to Mitchell Robinson, who I love. But there's no reason why Mitchell Robinson, Rudy Gobert, those type of players should be catching the basketball, should be involved in your offense unless it's an offensive rebound or a lob that's going to lead directly to a dunk.
I mean, Rudy had the one play though where he drove in the lane and dunked on
Rudy Gobert. Every time he tried
somebody.
to dribble the basketball, looked like Kai.
Yeah, people.
Not Kyrie Irving for people. It's not. It's a 5-year-old who lives in this house. 8-year-old who lives in this house.
He was on the last episode. If you guys want to check that out.
So for me, it's just like, nah, man. Like, I just feel like, to be honest with you, the offense wasn't the problem today. I think people are going to point to Anthony Edwards having 16 points and be like, oh, offense. No, they had 126 points. Yeah. They couldn't stop us. They had no answers for the big three. None.
Yeah,
not for any of them. Jalen hit 6 threes, got whatever he wanted offensively. Chet was dunking on people, hitting threes. SGA was getting to his spots. To me, that was a difference. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Julius on the offensive end. To me, the bigger problem was that he turned the ball over like 5 times and they got out in transition and had easy buckets. To me, the bigger problem was that Rudy Gobert couldn't grab a defensive rebound to save his life, and therefore the Thunder are getting extra possessions. It wasn't offensively for me. We can nitpick offensively for sure. Yeah. But the Timberwolves have the reason why they blew the Thunder out of the water in Game 3 was because defensively they just were relentless. It was like the old Minnesota team from last year. And we just didn't see the same thing. We saw a more focused Thunder team too as well, don't get me wrong. But to me, like, it's defense. It's not the offensive end. I think Anthony, it'll come. You know, I think a lot of times when people point to, like, what can they do better? It's like, well, what can you do better offensively? This person had this many points. It's like, nah, man, they put up 126 against a generational freaking defense, according to some people. That wasn't the problem. I was
going to say last game they were, like, in the pick and roll, they were showing, they were actually blitzing more, like, with Rudy, like, trying to bring in 2 on the ball. But if it didn't, I don't know, like you said, the defense felt really soft this game in comparison. And like if you're not getting any stops, like you can score as many as you want. If you're not getting any stops and you're turning over the ball, this is what you end up with. You
can't turn the ball over against the Thunder. And it's like a crazy thing to say, like you can't turn the ball against the Thunder when this is a team that scores 25 points a game off of turnovers. Like it's almost impossible to do. But like if you have 20 turnovers in a game, it's gonna kill you. You got to find a way to limit it at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem for the Timberwolves this series. They just turn the ball over too much.
Yeah. So who do you think wins the next game?
Thunder.
Thunder.
I had the Thunder in 7. I thought this would be a closer series. This was the first good game we've had all series. But I can't see Minnesota going into OKC in an environment like that with a chance for the Thunder to advance to the NBA Finals and having them pull out a victory. I just don't see it happening. The Thunder are the better team to begin with, too. It's not like the Thunder and T-Wolves are that evenly matched. I think the Thunder are clearly the better team. I think at this point it's just a formality. I think Game 5 it's over. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Thunder win in the next game. I had the Thunder in 6.
Yeah, you had in 6.
I had them 6, but then like I thought it was gonna end up in 4, just because I didn't like the way the Timberwolves were playing the first 2 games. I didn't like their process. I didn't like their aggression. I didn't like anything of what they were doing. Like the first couple of games, they started playing better at home, but I don't know if are they gonna revert back to that same team when they get back on the road. Are we gonna get in a better game from Julius Randle, because we both view him as an X factor, like, and him just being just a non-factor, like the whole game.
No, he's not a non-factor. He's worse than a non-factor.
Yeah, that
a non-factor
big
is somebody
negative.
steps in the corner, does nothing. He actively hurt his team today. He was awful today.
And I think that's the problem, is that we both know he's way better than this. That's the problem. Like we've watched him many times. We're like, we know what he's capable of, and he's way better than this. So for him to play like this, it's kind of like, okay, well, you're not giving your team a chance. So yeah, I see the Thunder closing out at home.
All right, well, that's going to do it. The OKC Thunder 1 game away from an NBA Finals berth. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 128-126, take a 3-1 series lead. We will be back tomorrow. Knicks-Pacers Game 4, huge game for my New York Knicks. Let's see what happens there. You can follow us everywhere at the Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab AKS. We'll see you tomorrow for the game recap. Knicks-Pacers Game 4. Peace.